Welcome to Brunel University.
And what promises to be an exciting and memorable student experience.
The campus and town are really safe places.
However, you do still need to take care and make sure that your time here is memorable for all the right reasons.
Brunel is lucky enough to be close to the big city of London, and it is a fantastic nightlife and atmosphere. It is genuinely a safe place, but this doesn't mean you shouldn't be thinking about your personal safety. When you're out at night, do try and get around with a friend rather than being by yourself. If you can't, make sure somebody knows where you are and what you're doing. You should always think ahead about your travel plans, especially coming home from a night out or after dark. The best idea is to spend a little less and book a taxi or get a bus home. Avoid walking home whenever you can, but if you do end up walking, ensure you keep to well-busy lit routes and don't go alone. Wandering around alone can single you out as a target. You also need to think about how drunk you're actually getting. If you're too drunk, it could be obvious to people and it could make yourself a target. So by all means, have a fantastic night, but don't go overboard.
An issue faced by a lot of students is crime. Statistically, students are one of the more likely groups to be affected by crime, be it cycle theft or burglary. But as always, there are a lot of things you can do to protect yourself and your property from criminals. For starters, don't leave your valuables in sight. This is just tempting fate. For a seasoned criminal, peering through your window and seeing a lovely array of laptops, MP3 players and games consoles is a hard offer to refuse. Your living room is not an advertisement, so put your stuff away. Most house robberies happen because of open doors or windows. Opportunist criminals love it when you go out and leave your windows open. Don't give them a chance. Make sure you close all your windows and lock every door before you leave the house, even if you're just popping out. You should also never share your key codes with other people or let people you don't recognise tailgate you into the building. It could be anyone. Cycle crime is also a problem, but is again caused by a lack of care on the part of the owner. Make sure you keep hold of your pride and joy. Always use a D-lock and fasten the bike to something sturdy or in a secure lock-up area. Street robbery is not as common, but is definitely a mishap that can be avoided. Don't get me wrong, Brunel's as safe a university as any, but it's still worth being vigilant when you're out and about. Keep valuables out of your hands and out of sight as much as possible, and you won't be a walking target.
Although it's crazy to think about, crime can also happen in the library, so don't leave your mobile phone or your laptop out while you just pop to the printer. All it takes is that one bad person, so don't take that chance.
Another thing you have to think about whilst you're here at university is drugs. They cause a lot of problems for a lot of people. Not only are you putting your own health at risk, but you're also involving yourself in the criminal community, which can lead to a downward spiral of criminal activity.
There's other threats to student safety as well as crime, the biggest being fire. The fire service gets student-related calls every year from burnt toast to house fire. Here are some tips on protecting yourself whilst you're at uni. I know you'll have heard it a million times before, but smoke alarms can save your life. Unless you are living in halls, you need to make sure you have one and check that it works every 1 week or so. It can give you vital time from getting out of the building if there is a fire. If you are living in private accommodation, you should get your hands on a carbon monoxide monitor. It is a cheap and simple piece of equipment that can save your life if there is a gas leak in the building. Most kitchen fires are caused by a build-up of grease or fat on their grill. Once it reaches a certain temperature, it catches fire and the effects are devastating. You should try and clean out your grill pan as often as possible. Like me. The biggest cause of kitchen fires is unattended cooking. Whether you've been distracted by the phone ringing or your mates getting home, if you've left the food cooking, you're putting yourself at risk. If you're going to leave the oven, take the food off the heat. Learn more about cooking safely by attending your kitchen meetings with your mentors and learn how to cook safe and be safe. If you're living in private accommodation, any equipment given to you, such as washing machines and fridges, should be PAT tested to determine whether it's safe to use. If you find your equipment is not marked with that sticker, you should ask your landlord to test it, or you could be at risk of fire or electrocution. When you're arriving in halls, you will be told what your evacuation procedure is. Make sure you know this, as you don't want people looking for you if there is a fire. If you're unsure, check the signs that you see all over your accommodation.
Many of you coming to uni will know that you'll be spending a lot of time in science labs and workshops, and that poses its own health and safety risk. But don't worry, you'll be given a course induction that will show you how to stay safe. In the meantime, here's a quick rundown of what to look out for. If you notice any faults in your workplace, like broken glass or loose cabling, you need to report it straight away. The most common cause of accident are slips and trips. These can be caused by spilled liquids or crossing cables. You have to be aware of your equipment and others around you. If you see a fault, sort it out. Don't let someone else do it for you. Working in a science lab means you'll be working with equipment and materials that need handling with care. Do not touch anything you're not trained to use, and always follow the guidance of your tutor. If you're not sure about anything, then just ask before continuing. If you work in here, in a workshop, as part of your degree, you'll be doing a certain amount of manual handling, heavy lifting, and certainly be operating dangerous machinery like this. On induction, you'll be trained how to do things correctly and use the equipment safely. Generally, it's about common sense and not attempting to do something you know will be a strain. At some point, you'll also unfortunately find yourself spending long hours in the library, rushing to meet deadlines. This isn't a get-out clause, but prolonged use of a laptop or computer can cause injuries. To avoid this and get your work done, you should take regular breaks and stretch your legs. Health and safety in the workplace is much more about prevention than cure. Most accidents can be avoided by thinking ahead and using common sense.
Now, if the worst should ever happen, reporting any incidents in your accommodation or on campus is really easy to do so. Security are always on hand at Brunel to make sure that your time at Brunel is really safe and enjoyable. So feel free to get in touch with them about anything to do with your welfare, safety, or even your health. They're honestly open to anything, so feel free to get in touch with them as soon as possible. If you're ever worried about yourself or a friend, contact security. In the case of an emergency, please dial 999 and let security know that you've done so. A little note about your health. All students living on campus or nearby should register at the Brunel Medical Centre. Also, if you do become ill in halls, email illnessinhalls@brunel.ac.uk.
So that's about all the advice we have for now.
Staying safe doesn't mean hiding away or changing everything you do.
It's about thinking sensibly and making the right decisions.
And that will lead to you having the best time possible at university.